So I have been going about my day today deeply disturbed by this notion, but deeply disturbed by something. And stuff I already knew that is just being shown to me in real time. So I talked in my last couple of videos a lot about this idea of Putin, the errors of Russia and whatever, taking on this imperialistic Russian form again, in which the leaders use the occult to benefit their country. And the more I'm thinking about this stuff, and the more I'm reading, there's something that the right is overlooking. The conservative right, both in politics and in the church. And that is the following. Satan does not care what mask he wears as long as he obtains his final goal, which is the subversion and the destruction of the Church of Rome, Holy Mother Church, the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so this is like a really hard conclusion to come to. But I talk about the different lodges, right? The different Masonic lodges and how they're all under the same umbrella of subversion of the church. That's their main goal, to rule the world. But within this order of Freemasonry, the different lodges have different ideologies to express this one goal, and they fight with each other for power. And so this can be seen in different ways throughout society. I bring up, when I talk about Russia and the occult, I bring this up where it can be seen in the Bolshevik Revolution, the different fractions fighting for control, the different ideologies fighting for control of the Soviet Union ultimately. And one thing that has been brought to my attention is that there are a lot of groups, occult groups, wrapped in nationalist, traditionalist ideology. But they are pagan. They are occult at their roots. They are not from God, but they're harder to distinguish because, unlike the liberals who completely reject God, these individuals in these groups have a Christian mask, a Christian flair to them, because they, at least on the surface, subscribe to the same ideas that traditional Catholics subscribe to, such as homosexuality is bad for society, abortion is bad for society, etc., etc. Although they're looking at it from a humanistic standpoint, not necessarily abortion is bad because God disapproves, but abortion is bad because it weakens the population in terms of numbers. Okay, so there's many groups like this, but the ultimate conclusion I had to come to, which is not easy, is the following. Obviously, this is going on in society at large. This is demonstrated with Putin. This is demonstrated even within the United States with characters like Bannon, who claims to be a devout Catholic but subscribes to belief systems that are pagan. Okay, that's just these are facts. He admits this. He talks about this. The philosophers and things, I forget the one guy's name in Italy, basically is a major occultist. So he subscribes to these. And this is seen really in Nazi Germany. This is seen by the likes of Hitler, who used occult powers. This is well known. This is well documented. Who used the occult, but it had a nationalistic eugenics flavor to it. Whereas some of the other occult ideologies have more of a perverse sexual flair to it, homosexuality, transgenderism. So obviously we know which one is empowered in the West right now. It's obviously this idea of there is no sin, anything goes, blah blah blah. And really that's a lie too, because not everything goes. It's just their version of everything is what they want to go. So anyway, they're both destructive, they're both bad, they're both from Satan. And what we have to come to the conclusion of is the following. In Akita, Japan, Our Lady appeared in, Our Lady gave messages, and she didn't actually, I don't know that she actually appeared, but the statue of her was weeping. And there's some miraculous stuff associated with it. But what she said to Sister I don't know how to say her name, Sagaganda. I'm not really sure. It begins with an S though. She said to her the following: "The work of the devil will infiltrate the church in such a way that you will see cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops opposing bishops." And I really had to take that really at face value for a second and go back to other apparitions in which we were told that, what was going to rule, what was going to infiltrate the church. We know from the magisterium, we know from papal documents that they were concerned about a Masonic infiltration. And so when we think of this infiltration, we think of the likes of the bishops or cardinals, whoever in Germany, trying to bless same-sex unions, but that's only one face of it. Of course, they infiltrated to push that agenda. But when you're going to conquer an institution, a country, an institution, you also have controlled opposition. You try to control the opposition. So you have opposing ideologies, and you try to put people in camps to then fight with each other and implode. So if we know for a fact that there are these infiltrators that's in a liberal direction, then we have to assume, by reason of logic and just by knowing how these people work, that there are infiltrators in the traditionalist ideology movement that would appeal to conservative Catholics as well. And that the goal, the ultimate goal, is in the ultimate outcome is going to be cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops opposing bishops. So it's important that we recognize these traps and we don't fall into them. And so when I see something like an Archbishop Vigano, who I've always respected, he's in hiding, which bothers me. That really bothers me. You're not out on the street with the rest of the cardinals, so I'm not impressed. I'll be honest with you. I'm not impressed. I view that as cowardly. But when I see the likes of him, I didn't read the letter he wrote. I know there's a letter that he wrote about this Russia situation that's getting a lot of attention. I couldn't get past, even before I started coming to the conclusion of Putin being into the occult and all this stuff. One of his first lines, I think it's in there, says that, I don't know if it's the first line, but the line I read said that Russia was this catacomb holding back the Antichrist. And I have to agree with what rubs me the wrong way about that is, even before I understood the ins and outs of this, I could see that Russia was going to have to align themselves with Islam to get anywhere. Therefore, Russia cannot be the catacomb because Islam is completely anti-Christ. So I don't know what's going on. The Catholic priest that was interviewed by Matt Fradd, the Ukrainian Catholic priest, thought that maybe that wasn't written by Archbishop Vigano. We wouldn't know because he's in hiding. I don't know. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying logic would tell me that if you're going to have infiltrators, if you're going to infiltrate an institution or a country, you're going to have infiltrators in both ideologies, both groups, so to speak. You're going to have liberals that are trying to take the church off the tracks to the left, and you're going to have traditionalists that are trying to take the church off the tracks to the right. And you're going to try to get as much support as you possibly can in these two groups, and then you're going to stir them up so that they fight with each other. And that's how countries fall, and that's how institutions fall, and this is what we're seeing in society at large. Meanwhile, it is not of God. It is all heavily based in paganism and the occult. I'm telling you. That's a fact. That's not debatable. Do your research. You will see it yourself. You can see it by their mannerisms. You can see it by their symbols that they use. It's a little, there's more information on it, on the left, the liberal, but it's on the right too. It's on the right too if you look hard enough. And that's deeply concerning because good Christian people who just want society to live by Christian values are going to be fooled because they don't understand how the spiritual world works. They don't understand how Satan works, and they're going to be fooled, and it's already happening. And I, for the first time in my life, can honestly say that the situation in the church and the situation in the world is worse than I even thought. So the solution, we've been told, stick to the magisterium of the church, stick to the sacraments, and pray the rosary. Joan of Arc Media out.